17 Last Seed, Day 2. I have read the Pilgrim's Path and marked the location of each shrine on my map. These are the rules of the temple. Your fourfold duties are to faith, family, masters, and all that is good. Perform holy quests and bring luster to the temple. Never transgress against your brothers or sisters in thought or deed, as we are all one body. If you somehow fail to uphold these ideals, you must speak with a master or the patriarch to be cleansed of your wrongdoings. I have joined the tribunal temple as a layman. I was told to seek out Hetman Lethrow on the west end of Almesthur to begin the pilgrimage to the Bloodstone Shrine. At the docks of Roadir I have spoken to Ifshi Dryler about a delicate problem she was having and agreed to help her. She suspects that one of the slaves is stealing from the ships, and wants me to find out which one of them it is, as well as what their motive is. 17 Last Seed, Day 2. Ifshi Dryler believes that the slave couldn't sell the stolen items, so that they must still be around somewhere, probably in a nearby stash. If I find it, it may reveal some clues about the culprit. A bounty has been offered for Nirmeni Eneth. She's been robbing pilgrims on Velatha's path east of Almesthur and is wanted dead. A witness, Voraz O'Day Thil, whose house is southeast of Roadir, witnessed the latest attack.
So, welcome back to the adventures of Xiaoyu in this big Morrowind world. And okay, some news. I think I fixed a couple of things compared to the last stream. I got rid for good of the ugly red deprecated cubes added by Time Rebuild geniuses. And the thing is, I was thinking that the change into the meshes was not working anymore for some reason, but that is not the problem. The problem is, it's incredible, but there are two different red ugly cubes. One is added by Time Rebuild, and one is added to the other data file, to the other BSA archive from the PC data. Both are used by both the mods, so you had to get rid of two of them. One was not enough, so I found the second one and tweaked also that mesh. So it is a marker. That means it is a special mesh that is displayed only on the construction set when you have to build things in the game, and is not visible in game. And there are already a ton of things like this. If you think about all the sounds you hear in the game, usually they are just sound attached to some of these markers, and that are played when you are nearby. You don't see the market in game, you only hear the sound. And those deprecated ugly red cubes could just have been made some marker. Easy peasy. But for some reason it seems that sometimes Time Review developer just hate the players trying to use their preview files for some reason. So they do these ugly things. I'm joking, but not so much joking, because it's really something fairly easy to fix, but for some reason maybe I'm the one playing that preview area every now and then. Most of people just don't dare to do it. Anyway, that's one thing, and also I finally found, I think, a way to set up the standard uh, pronunciation of the nice lady, which is
17 last seed.
the standard Microsoft voice
17 last seed. Day 2.
to
I have
read.
read.
She's basically the voice of Shiayu, and one of the reasons why I am always using this kind of character, at least a female one. Yes, I like to see a nice female when I play in third-person view, but that's not the classic reason, like Lara Croft reason. Reason is also because there are not many, there are very few decent standard voices in your Windows operative system, and one of the best one is this female voice. So I'm using a female character to be able to read the journal and various things using this voice, and a special mod done for this, which is called Read Aloud, and that I'm using for Shiayu to read the journal, to read the dialogue, and so on. And that's one thing about this voice. It is very good, but there are some words that are not, the pronunciation is not good, so you have to sort of do the spelling for the voice to say things correctly. And finally, I think I have found a better way to have the voice pronounce things like deer, fear, Skyrim, and so on.
Roa dear Dravia over. Roa dearest house in Dorils
Because
poured on the third river,
now she
and the
is
chapel
saying
of the
deer,
Indoril Ilvi.
which is a
Roa
little
dear Dravia over.
better
Roa dearest
than
house.
D-Y-R. She was just doing the spelling every time. At least I think it sounds better this way. Anyway, these are the things I changed, more relevant, and a lot of smaller and bigger fixes to my newer mod. So now the mod which is changing the clone heads on the fly is also able to use more heads and so on. A lot of fixes, mod that is making the door, which are still in alpha version and are not linked to any interiors, they usually just rotate under their center, and they are really ugly in game because you see this mesh rotating and you see the wall behind or the void and so on. So this mod can detect them on the fly in theory, and give you a message: the door is closed, you cannot open it, and this door goes nowhere, and so on. It's much more immersive. Also, talking about immersion, added a little more meshes that are recognized as water, so that thing also is immersive. And I think last time we managed to reach all Ibonat, and I think we must still spend the night here. Yeah, just arrived, I think. What time is it? Oh no, we already spend the night here. We are in the morning, and we can keep on exploring a little this city, or try to reach as soon as possible Sidania, from there start the usual things. But I want to come back as soon as possible to this part of the mainland because there are new places, new quests to do, and I like it very much. Uh, Apart the criticism about the red ugly things, I just loved the new areas and the new quest added, uh, and I think I like also to play also here, but maybe it's better also to start the standard the standard quest because one of the reasons is that if you want to play with Julian, have Julian as a companion, you have to follow the standard quest. So that's one of the reasons. But anyway, we are here, just arrived here in this beautiful city. Time is not very good, but it's pretty. And I also played a little, explored other cities recently. And I explored also Rodi, which is a beautiful city. And I must say that Rodi frame rate is even worse than Old Ibonat. Maybe because Old Ibonat has been recently a little uh, optimized in theory from this point of view, but Rodi 2 is very heavy. So it's not only Old Ibonat, but
please, by all means,
they
I'm
are
listening.
super beautiful. So anyway, we are here. Let me check. We should reach Anafa. We are still space. We could try and join some guild, maybe do something. What's here?
Barristers Guild.
What could be a barrister guild?
Imperial Charter of the Guild of Barristers. Purpose. The Guild of Barristers provides employment to educated solicitors and scholars of law and contracts to local citizens. Citizens may contract with the Guild for legal advice as well as prosecution or defense for criminal proceedings. 2. Authority. The Guild of Barristers was established under the Section 15 of the Guilds Act, and this charter was first confirmed under the potentate Versichai in the 321st year of...
Okay, we know now what this guild is in theory. This.
Dunmer Law, a primer, by Gallo Thissomine, scholar of the Imperial University.
Dirt, 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 dirt. Everywhere dirt.
Etiquette with Rulers by Ares Terraligen. Vardenfell crime rising. According to an Imperial Legion source, trouble is brewing on the island of Vardenfell, with smuggling, thievery, and even killings on the rise. Coast Guard patrols are apprehending an increasing number of smugglers in the Bitter Coast region, while rumors speak of turf wars between rival street gangs in Balmora. Most disturbing is a wave of murders, seemingly targeting innocent citizens. Up to 5 Imperial settlers have been brutally killed in the past weeks in Vivek City alone. This is a work schedule for one of the barristers.
Hello, Enchanted Blade, I presume? Yes, yes. business.
What is it? Get on with it already. I'll do it.
Let's do it. Let's see what happens.
Renant Alcient, a criminal lawyer in the Barristers Guild, needs help taking care of an old client of his. He seems afraid that Stabby Jack Maris is going to kill him. He gave me a letter for Stabby Jack and wants me to convince his client that he's moved out of town. I should look for Maris in the docks, aboard the Neben's Wind.
Okay, we have a new quest. And the ship called Neben's Wind. But as we are here, let's take a look at this pretty house. Hello, Argonia lady. Marsh demon at her elbow. Okay.
The Dreadful
Ooh.
Theft of the Sun's Dusk Ale by Rasayan Wickersley. It was late last night that the dreadful theft occurred, for Guide to Imperial Heraldry in Morrowind, written and illustrated by Dolamas Haitsurim. Etiquette with Rulers by Biography of the Wolf Queen by Qatar Irifanes. History of Daggerfall by Oda Galwood. Inside Almalexia's Tongue. For My Gods and Emperor, a handbook for the Imperial Cult. Varieties of Thought. The Brothers of Darkness. The Uprising in Almalexia. Great Houses of Morrowind. Reman, son of Reman. Banker's Bet by Porbert Littomley. A is for Atronak. B is for Bungler's Bane. The Assassination of Pelagius I Horatio Gargonath. The Failure of the Empire. Provinces of Tamriel. The
I think. Well.
A Short History of Morrowind by Jeanette Sitt. From the introduction. Led by the legendary prophet Velith. the ancestors of the Dunmer, exiles from Altmer cultures in present-day Somerset Isle, came to the region of Morrowind.
I think this is a mesh tweaked by the how is it called? The Atlas project, but the texture here is not looking good. I think I will go back to the standard meshes. Yeah, maybe the textures I'm using is not very good for
an unbiased appraisal of abolition by Lernstisen.
I've already done that with some doll because they did not look. I'm using mostly the how is it called? I don't remember the name of the model. It's an old model, but I prefer those
I thought
textures
you might want to read this book by Lernstisen.
To the one most people use nowadays, which are basically just a scale up of the original vanilla textures. They are not bad, but I prefer. Oh, a model is called Connery, and I love Connery's and an old friend textures. These are my two preferred texture maker for the textures in Morrowind, and so sometimes when you use some optimized meshes to use Atlas, they don't look very good with those textures, and every now and then you sacrifice some little frame rate for a better looking texture. I think it's what. But usually the Atlas textures are good enough.
Lex Imperia 3. 3-4 Domicilia 1. Lex Imperia 2. Lex Imperia I.
One of the difficult thing about I was talking about try to teach the lady reading our books how to do the pronunciation of some words. One of the difficulties
Lex Imperia
this because from the context is not easy to understand the meaning of that
to be promulgated
capital
under the rule of the Emperor Cyrodiil III. The rule of the Emperor Cyrodiil is sacred.
The pronunciation should be I, or should be one, or should be
the
first.
Citizen is they, born under the benevolent rule of the Emperor Cyrodiil II.
To teach the program how to say
and the
things
exercise
correctly,
of rights
but
flow freely from the
I'm
status of
slowly
Citizen 3.
going there.
Let
Hello,
law,
Marla.
duty, and the exercise of rights be in accordance to the
Trying
citizen's
to
caste, race.
Teach Shiayu how to read the numbers, the letters. She's not super good at it
Lex Imperia
yet,
7.
but she's going
713
progress.
Sales 1. A sale is an agreement according to which one citizen is bound to deliver an object.
Yeah, the fast, but you have to understand the context. So maybe look if that's the last letter in the row, if there is a dot after, and you have to teach all the cases. So I'm slowly trying to improve this thing, but it's not something by default. The voice that comes with standard Windows is able to do the correct pronunciation for a lot of words, but especially with this kind of words that could be numbers, doesn't work well. You have to do the spelling yourself and separate the meaning of the word, tell the pronunciation to the program for it to work. And it's not easy to write all these things in a Lua line for the speech library, but I'm slowly doing also that. Anyway, Trying to read things. I prefer, usually I never use, they are called skill teacher. They have a precise name, but I never use them. In Morrowind you can buy, like you buy a new scroll or a new learn spell, you can buy some advancement in skill. Oh, you go to a trainer. Now I remember the correct word. Shayu prefers to read books instead of going to trainers. And if you go to a trainer, it will be using a nice mod by Akimaistan, which is making you able to do a real-time training. So you have a wooden sword, for instance, and you spare with your sparring partner, with your trainer, and so you learn the skill.
A former client of mine just got released. If someone by the name Stabby Jack Maris comes knocking, you don't know who or where I am.
Okay, Stabby Jack.
Number of received death threats. Winner gets a bottle of Batch's finest at the end of the year. Marsh demon at her elbow.
This one
Nia,
is impossible.
2. Renant.
I don't think this kind of Roman number is something used at all, because it should be composed by using the how is it called, the V and a mix of I and V letters, and not like this. So I don't know what's the meaning, but maybe in Morrowind there are different
This
ways.
is a work schedule for one of the barristers. This is a work.
It is simply some glitch in how
Citizen
the
Moles
scroll was
versus V Citizen
written.
Aljadikas.
But I think Roman numbers are used a lot. Oh, sorry, didn't want to steal this thing. Oh, forgive me.
You're mine, Outlander.
Okay. They are really angry with Shia, you know. I think it's not easy to with 10 bounty. Not easy with the scrolls, because most of the times you can read a scroll like a book without trying to take it, but sometimes you cannot, and when you grab it they go mad. And so I think I don't want to run away because I want to do the quest, so I think I will try and see if we have a save. But I noticed that it's a little difficult with the scroll, because you never know if you can read them safely. So maybe I must pay attention about it. And about the textures for the books, I think they are 2 from Cornery. I'm not sure about it, honestly, because I have 20, not 20, but 18 years out textures in my folders, so I don't really remember from where they are all coming, but most of them, I think they are from Connery and from an old friend. Also some from Appel. It depends on what kind of meshes.
For the right price, I could show
But
you
I'm
many
certainly
things.
not of the school that vanilla double resolution upscaled with some EI pseudo program is the better thing you can use in Morrowind, because I think one of the reasons to mod the game is to change it as you like it, not necessarily to make it look at a better resolution with better realism, but keep that like it was in the original game. But this chest, as you can see, the texturing is not working well, so I will take a note about trying to change back the mesh or the textures. And this is interesting because it is something you can do when you want to take a note about something you want to change in game, but do not forget it. Basically, you have to open your Morrowind.ini and put a line there with the name of the text file, which will be your beta text file. And now you can do something like this. You can click the thing you want to take a note. You see the name of the thing in the game console, and then you can type BC, which means beta comment, and you write something like check the texture here. And this thing with the identifier for the object, the coordinates of the object, the cell of the object, all information you need to retrieve this object in the construction set is there in this text file. So next time you go there, you want to fix things, you find this information. And it's pretty useful, especially if you are trying to help some modder, a mod maker, fixing things in game. For instance, I have seen these ugly cubes in Time and Rebuild preview. I can tell them, hey, I have seen this ugly cube in this cell with these coordinates. I don't like it.
I don't know if I like
okay,
this.
so they don't they don't mind if I tell this thing, because but other things could be interesting. For instance, one of the problems that I had is some doors were not correctly positioned, and I took a note. So I prepared a message in the place in the Time and Rebuild site where you can report for these things, and I used this beta comment to have the exact coordinates. Then after a while I discovered the real reason for the problem, which was not a problem with Time and Rebuild, but a problem with another mesh changed by an old mesh replacer, which was an old version of the how is it called? I thought just before the I don't remember. Well, another mesh replacer, old version, which was basically using a mesh which was not centered correctly, so it was appearing in a moved position in game, and so the thing that were near this mesh looked like misplaced, but the real problem was the mesh. And so I realized this. I downloaded the fixed mesh, and now things are okay. And so I wrote in my report that I found the reason of the problem, and that is no more something that Time and Rebuild developer have to look for. But I think for half of this kind of problem it could be something similar. So people can say, yeah, I seen this thing which is not working for me, and probably half of these reports are not a problem with time revealed. Maybe it's a conflict, maybe it's a wrong mesh coming from another mod, maybe something like that, or a problem with the same game. But it's always important when you find a problem to go there, spend the time to go on the site and report what you think could be a problem, because it's always better for a developer to have 100 reports and half of them to be a fails problem that having no reports at all, because people using things is the only way you can speed fixing things. Anyway, I don't want to repeat the same thing and try to read that scroll, but we can read these messages.
This is a work schedule for one of the barest. Number of received. A former.
So, in short, try to learn how to use your PC command, and then when you find a problem, you go to the site of the mod maker or the author of the mod and can help debugging and fixing the problem. Okay, let's go out. So ideally we must go to the port. Where is she going? I think this city must have the more quest density, in all the game, because it's a big city, and every few meters there's a place where you can get some quest. We could also buy something, but I think Xiaoyu will invest in spells, possibly. Glove of the Cosmic Doorknob. Ooh, recall and mark. That could be pretty useful. I will take a note about this shop, because if we don't find some different interesting mark, recall, gloves. And one of the things that people don't use so often is the nodes that you can place in your maps. And the nice thing is that you can see them from the outside also. So in theory, if I look at the door, as you can see, you hover over the door marker and you can see the notes that you have written inside, and you can write more than one and you can see all the notes for the interior. So it's pretty useful. So we have the barista. Okay, so I will take a note here in the outside about this skill. The reason why I take the note is that this way it is a red dot, so it is easier to find it when you start exploring.
The Nine and the Empire.
And so we
citizen.
enter here, and we know now that it is a weapon shop. And the lady is called Ila Freebeer. We could use a decent weapon. We have a steel long sword, but not enough money for this. And stealing things here, not easy. There's a guard right there. Sorry, I want to read the
Mineral
book.
Resource Potentials of Morrowind by Apolli Dobilius, EEC Prospector.
Really, I don't like these textures from the chest. Probably they are made for... Oh, a gold dagger. Well, this is a place probably where we can steal something. Oops. Two guards, not only one, two guards. So about roleplay, shall we use a little... She's a chaotic good, she steals, but she's also helping people when she can. Hello, Nod. Nice armor. Oh, another floor. It's a big house. Oh, no one there.
Lady Banaka's Words and Philosophy. Shore, son of Shore. The last scabbard of Akrash. On Lycanthropy by Barnard Caresson. The Alikar by Enric Milrez. Mixed Unit Tactics in the 5 Years' War Vol. How Orsinium passed to the Orcs.
I like gloves, but until I find a way to make the gloves recognize when you are uh, using one of these robes. Uh, but well, gloves are not hard. It could be something you do from MWSC Lua. So you could already make a mod that realize you have a robe and do not display the half part of most of the gloves. Problem is with gauntlets, because sometimes with the gauntlets the part that you can that can bleed with the robe meshes, you cannot really avoid displaying that because it is a single part with the rest of the mesh. It is more difficult. One of the problems we have while trying to change these kind of things now with MWSC Lua is not that we cannot go to the mesh and find the point where we can hide or display things. Is that there is not a constant rule, a constant way in how these meshes are done. Bethesda has not been very thorough in how they organize this kind of things. Maybe also because has been one main game, two DLC, so things changed during the development. They added things and so on. But another example is I try to make a mod to make you play a sort of animation or make the player lay on the bed well, before sleeping. And the difficult thing is that there is not a standard way in which the bed meshes are oriented. Some use a certain angle and some use a different angle, so you never know what is the correct orientation that you should use for the bed. The only thing I can think is trying to recognize from the textures used where is the part with the where the pillow is in some way. From there sort of use some deduction of what is the correct angle, but it is not easy at all. Or you should just sort of write on a table all the possible beds that you could find, but this also is not very practical because then modded beds would not work. So there are these things inside the game that make difficult to do something kind of mod, even if we have the technical ways now with MWSC, or if you have open Morrowind, it is even better because they have the source code, but the meshes are done that way. So these kind of problems are also the same for even if you try to do something like that with open Morrowind and having also the source code, because the meshes are done this way. So not easy. Okay, I will go here, but I don't think we can explore all these houses. in this big city. Another thing you notice is that the original textures they did not respect the correct orientation for the book, so you can see that using the original textures, developers of the Tiny Reveal mod did not place this book correctly, because from the original texture you cannot see the orientation, but with our texture which is showing the text, you can see it. But anyway, we can see if we can do that. In theory we should be able.
A Game at Dinner, by an anonymous spy. Forward from the publisher.
So in theory we cannot do this. Let me check. Yeah, item is own, so I cannot replace it correctly. Also, I would like to steal it anyway because
A Game at Dinner.
It's a skill book. Shiayo is collecting tomes she used to learn. And also we have a nice alchemy equipment here. We have already... Oh, we don't have any. Okay, we need it. And the rest of the things are heavy, so probably not worth. This is a Velk nectar sac. Strange ingredient. I've seen a Velk. They are really beautiful creatures. And another here. Okay. Try and sell it. Okay, let's go this way. The main square.
Well, hello there. A pleasure to meet you.
A shop. I think just exploring the city here you could spend a lot of hours. Just exploring.
Sedai and Kurgo, or Meditation on Triumph.
Ooh. Pretty nice things here. Greetings! Hamallo Sentinel. Have you come to see the fabled shield of Madhusa Gaze? Don't think he's selling real things. Okay, let's take a look. What's here? Some strange weapon from a broadsword. We check. Do we have anything to sell? This ingredient, it is worth a lot of money, but as you can see, I have the mod which is making them really hard to battle with. Not what. Oh, here is the shield. Resist paralysis. Interesting, but it is not cheap. Paralysis is one of the most hard things to resist, even for an Atronach sign like Shiaga. Oh, and another thing that I really dislike about Time Rebuild is they are still using these super low resolution textures in some kind of things, and you really see them from a mile away, like this book. I mean, I'm not really using some kind of super modern resolution. I'm still using 1080 points, not using 4K resolutions, but still this thing is really vanilla resolution, or a little more, and you see it immediately. Ooh, strange weapons here. Oh, and we have also a god, which is, look at this, a beautiful god. Very nice, very red god like. Oh, we cannot go up there? No, closed. And close. Wow. This is a pretty nice exotic shop. Very well done. Also, that guard was really something. But you can see these things in this mod. You can see that kind of ugly textures, soup, and 1 meter away you can see that Alikir guard, which that beautiful armor, that beautiful not an helmet, a sort of turbans, I don't know how to call it, but there are this kind of contrasts. I don't think nowadays it's even anymore a matter of compatibility, because even I think I'm not really expert about smartphones and things like this, but I think even the simpler smartphones nowadays have resolutions which are better than the original game, so it doesn't make sense to make these super low resolution textures, because nobody is using the original resolution anymore. Oh, we can barter, but it's only selling. Oh, I want to check this thing, if in your mod adding sounds to the water, the fake water, is working. Yeah. I think maybe this could be also scripted to make sound, but maybe not. We can see it. Usually you can understand if there is some kind of local script attached to a mesh, to an activator. If you see some local variables of the script, there's a script. If you see some global variables like